Popcorn Junkies, this is an unusual one insofar as we've all gone to see an entirely subtitled, well, not entirely subtitled, but subtitled film. Essentially, an international film called MONOS. MONOS is the name of their little band of warriors, isn't
And they're the only gang in the area, certainly, aren't they?
Right, so this is directed by Alejandro Landes. Alejandro Landes. Which is I don't know him from anything else.
You said it like you knew.
Yeah, Alejandro Landes.
Alejandro something.
Brilliant name, but I understand it to be, a lot of people keep talking about it as a British film. There is one American / sort of Western actress in it called Julianne Nicholson who plays a hostage. Now, okay, let's just give a quick grab on this. This is set, in the film's terms, it's set within a generic Latin American, South American country.
Which we don't know where.
No, but it's actually shot in Colombia. So let's assume it's Colombia. And we are in the company of a band of guerrilla types, guerrilla warfare types, a little band of warriors, but all very young.
Very young.
Yeah, teenagers.
Yeah, and all of them sort of, subsisting within the jungle, and they have a hostage who is this American doctor.
Yeah, we have no idea what they're fighting for or what the whole thing's about.
No, and I think the whole film doesn't go into any detail on that.
I quite like that.
I like that.
I do too.
That's what kind of made me think, I think it's getting lots of comparisons to things like Apocalypse Now.
It becomes very Apocalypse
It becomes very Apocalypse Now, but what I liked about the fact that we had no context was you were then just forced to think about humans and humanity, weren't you, and just people and surviving.
Absolutely, yeah.
So as it started, what were your feelings, Kooks? Were you thinking, because I was a bit nervous going in with you, thinking, God, she's 12, it's subtitles.
I was
well, were you?
I was like, because they said there'd be the sex in it, it's like sexual stuff, and I was like, oh no, it's so
brilliant.
I know.
Yeah, drugs, violence, everything.
Yeah.
The list of stuff with the certification made
I'm
me
surprised it wasn't an 18.
Was there a point early on though, Kiki, where you thought to yourself, oh, hang on a minute, no, this is going to be, because you liked the trailer, didn't you?
Yeah, I loved it. It looked so well shot.
It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to see it though, because I thought I probably wouldn't understand it and stuff.
Oh right, okay.
But I did, and
Yeah, cool. Mum, were you excited about seeing this?
Very.
Why?
Because I've been to South America.
Yeah.
I've been to those very
Have you
places.
been in those jungles?
I've looked down on them from Peru.
Wow.
I remember when we saw the trailer in the cinema, she was like, oh,
Yeah.
and I was like, what are you doing?
And I absolutely adore people walking in formation like this slowly.
Yeah, there's that great shot, isn't it?
Oh, and then
Yeah.
So we were all in a kind of excited state. And
Yeah.
it was
Didn't ask me.
Oh, sorry, were you excited, darling? Well, sorry, I thought you just said that. You were excited, but you were more excited than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were the most excited.
No, in fact, I was the
let's get
most
on to the
excited.
No, I was the most excited.
I think I was a bit more excited.
No, I don't think you
I have to say, this was one of those films where it's not often where I take you two, Maddie and Kiki, to a film and I not worry is the wrong word, but I think, okay, well, this is a stretch because this is it's an entirely foreign language film. It's probably going to... No, but I'm just trying to say that actually it's a big challenge for younger viewers to... I mean, a lot of older people go, subtitles, no thanks.
Yeah.
You know,
Wasn't a lot of dialogue in this.
There wasn't a lot of
No,
dialogue, and that would be the first thing I'd say to anyone watching this. It's a cracking film insofar as, there isn't a lot of dialogue, and what you're left to read, it's kind of minimal, isn't it?
It is.
There's virtually nothing there. Go on then, cut to the chase.
So we start off by being introduced to the gang members, and the way that they do that is brilliant. And I thought for Kiki that was really good as well, for anybody. But what they're doing is showing us the different members, telling us their names, standing up.
Yeah, their names worked for their characters.
Yeah, like Rambo.
Exactly.
And,
It was like Bigfoot and Lady and Smurf.
So what you've got is this, you've got this slightly Kafkaesque situation where they are a small outfit working for a bigger outfit.
Yeah, and
He's not the leader of them.
No, he's not the leader of them at all. But what you've got is this commandant type character who's very diminutive but very muscly.
He is, but he's strange to look at. It's a strange
Really
idea
odd
to
to look
have
at.
him as the commander because he's survived.
Well, you would think that they wouldn't be afraid.
Exactly. But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
within seconds, one is quite nervous of him because he
you are
clearly knows
nervous
what
of
he's
him.
doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought it was actually quite frightening.
I did.
No, I agree. But like at first, when you're watching, you're like, it's strange that all of these young, very fit, teenagers that are clearly...
In terms of, so we see them exercising. I really like the sequences of how they set them up with all of those extreme close-ups of them going...
I thought it was weird at first. I
Did you?
Oh, no.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
yes, yeah.
It was quite surreal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was quite
very.
animalistic.
Yeah.
I mean, I
got a Lord of the Flies feel from this.
I got a massive Lord of the Flies vibe, and you're reading.
No,
but you started reading.
Lord of the Flies was flying along the road, backwards and forwards.
It was very like that.
Yeah, I think a good grab for this film is Lord of the Flies meets Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, it is.
Meets a little bit of Stand By Me, because I thought the band. Who were your favourite characters in the group?
Rambo.
Which one was he?
Rambo was the beautiful boy that's
boy
actually played by a girl.
Oh, that's right.
One at the very end shot.
Yeah, one at the end. Yeah.
I thought, because he didn't have much to say at all.
No.
And there wasn't a lot of screen time for him either.
No.
But there was something about him that really made, I don't know, something about his performance that I loved.
My favourite was Lascivious Lesbian.
Oh, Lascivious Lesbian. Yeah, that's not actually the name of the character.
No.
There is a young
She was
girl.
like 30.
Yeah. She was trying to woo the hostage. I thought Julianne Nicholson was incredibly good.
I did.
I thought she played it it was a very real, because sometimes, you get these stories in the press, like, unfortunately things like Jihadi John, and they're all dramatised and they're presented as hugely dramatic.
Yeah.
And it was very ordinary. There was a sort of ordinariness to her captivity.
But I thought the actor, I always forget his name, but I've loved him for ages, that played Bigfoot was brilliant.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot. He was the one.
Dreads.
Is he the one from that American indie film?
Yeah, from Kings of Summer. But he was
Summer.
also in Hannah Montana.
Oh really?
When he was younger.
Oh, how funny. Let's find his name.
He's got the greatest face.
His name's Moisés
Arias.
Moisés Arias.
But he's got an amazing
brilliant,
face.
an amazing face.
It was weird though, because usually he plays kind of like odd characters that are kind of sweet but weird, but he was really quite evil in this.
I tell you what, I thought quite early on, I thought about 20 minutes in, I really loved, you remember that sort of, all these opening scenes with that huge concrete building that they're doing all their exercise around? It made me feel it was a bit sci-fi, and that was helped by the fact that we had Mika Levy's soundtrack. Now Mika Levy doesn't do many soundtracks. It's really hard to get her to commit to any job. She did Under the Skin, and she did the soundtrack to Jackie Onassis film.
Okay.
Those are the only two films, and then this. And so he sent a cut of the film to her, worried that she wasn't going to do anything. He heard nothing for ages, and she sent this strange discordant audio files, and he added them in. And the director did talk about how the music became an entirely different personality or character. And so
I loved the music.
I loved the music, and it's not really music, it's just a sort of an accompanying soundtrack.
No, but I also like there was that one song that kind of had whistling in it.
Yes.
It was like, ooh.
But how did the music make you feel? Because the music made me feel really on edge.
Yeah, really tense.
Scrapey.
Well, I was stressed out pretty much the whole way through this film.
Were you?
Yeah. Oh, I was too. There was one moment near the beginning though where I actually, and I didn't think I would have thought this, but where I thought the music was very slightly overbearing.
Oh really? What, with Around the Fire?
I don't know, but it felt like it was taking up all the oxygen.
I loved that scene.
I quite liked it when the music overwhelmed it, because it did it so infrequently.
I know what you mean at the very first point.
Yeah.
I was like, but I think you just kind of get taken up by it.
Because of that didn't last long.
Stress of the film matched the music.
I mean, I'd hardly say it's music you'd sit and actively listen to.
It's hardly music.
I would.
Well, I would too. I like listening to that kind of stuff because I like being taken into that. But what it made me feel was that the planet, the landscape, the jungle was a living, breathing character in this film. The commandant gives them the cow, doesn't he? And there's that lovely line where he says, if you don't milk the cow, it'll explode.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great sort of ticking time bomb to sort of park in the middle of it. But then it was a really sort of stupid scene in which the cow accidentally gets killed.
Well, we don't really know where the cows come from, do we? I didn't.
Yeah, he brings it in.
Did we see him bringing it in?
No, he's just standing
there. He says this is a gift
from.
that you need to look after.
I know he said it's a gift you need to look after.
They basically all got drunk one night, didn't they? And then they wake up in the morning really hungover, and then the character Dog, who was the guy with really long hair, he stood and he was like kind of showing off and shooting his gun like this. And then we saw who was the leader at the beginning. I think Wolf was his name.
Yeah.
Finds that the guy shot the cow.
But what I loved about that scene was that accidental killing of the cow in areas of the world where there are wars and battles going on now, and especially the Middle East. This act of shooting into the sky is seen as a moment of kind of harmlessness. But apparently, every year there's something like 3,000 people killed by the falling bullets.
I bet there is.
Because those bullets have to fall somewhere, and they'll fall down directly through your head.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people going, and that unfortunately happened to this cow.
I love this shot though where the guy that was meant to be looking after the cow starts beating up the... Who was he beating up? Was he beating up Yeah, who's beating up the one with the long hair that shot
Dog.
the cat.
There was a big argument over who.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Yes.
just keep that shot and then he starts crying.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I tell you what made me jump out of my skin was when the doctor woman, the American, was sitting with the girl that's trying to kind of seduce her, and then that bomb goes off.
Oh
behind
yes,
her.
that was
I
amazing.
thought it was
No,
gonna
what would you say? I suppose what I'm driving at. What would you say makes this film unique? What was this film about? Why is everyone jumping up and down about it?
I mean, it's so beautifully shot.
That shot where that's in the trailer where all their legs go up at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
where
love
they're all
it. When
doing
they're
that.
like
Yeah,
painted blue. And,
I'm an absolute sucker for those sort of shots. But because it's a film about kids finding their levels, which essentially is what Lord of the Flies is about. And
yeah, they're
every
also
time,
different.
Yeah, also different. And I mean, if you actually think about it, there was one point where, and to say I was bored, I wasn't bored at all, but there was one moment where I slightly thought, oh, they've got to stop doing this, where the boys and the kids were fighting each other, and it seemed to go on and on and on.
yeah,
When
it was
two stopped fighting, another two would stop
Yeah.
fighting. And I thought this could go on forever. But that was only a momentary thought. But the way that the levels were formed and the way that the developments of the relationships, and I thought the way they did the sexual thing was really good too, in the sense that we were given the fact that Lady and whatever this guy was were going to be partners. It was actually quite respectful. The way that they did it. She's going to be your partner. We've decided this, and then. He killed him. She very quickly moved on to somebody else.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't done with no care.
I think it was about that. I think it was about the way in which actually there was a lot of structure and rules and moral boundaries, right down to the boy who shot himself. You know, there was an idea of taking responsibility at a young age. I thought one of the most tender moments in the film was when the doctor was escaping and one of the boys, I can't remember any names, one of the boys was tied up and she goes to take his shoes and he makes the suggestion of cutting the toes.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought that was so sweet, and it was really well directed because you had a shot of her looking at him.
Yeah.
You could see that touched a part of her.
Yeah.
You could see he knew it had. He also didn't want to stop her escaping, but at the same time, there was so much going on. And I think in so many of those scenes, you're right. I think it was a really interesting film
I felt so sorry for that boy.
about human relationships. Yes, Smo, I know.
Because he'd said, what did he say again?
He
said that Bigfoot had told them to. Yeah. That bit I was really nervous.
Oh, that scene where the
all
commandant comes back and says, right, you tell me this, you tell me that.
Well, they all had to basically snitch on each other.
Well, and that's interesting because they didn't have to snitch on each other, but they did all snitch on each other.
Yeah.
And you know, so that was the moment where their system of laws and rules and loyalty started to fall apart. You know, it was like there was a point at which they were all a unit, and then there was a point at which it was like survival of the fittest, wasn't it? I'm after number one.
Well, that's why I got such a Lord of the Flies feel to it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of Lord of the Flies, obviously, it's more.
But what I thought as well, and what I should have said just now, and I was saying about the sexual nature of some of the things, which is very mild, is that in a sense they're all looking for love, which sounds very cheesy.
And belonging.
And belonging, so that the sex scenes can morph very easily into just them hugging each other and wanting to be held and all of that. They did that really well, including the scenes with the American, because I'm only joking about the Sylvia's lesbian, but when they start off, they're holding each other, and then everything gets complicated. They all think they're going to die, or possibly going to die.
Yeah, and for me, it was a film about the essence of what it is to be a surviving human.
Yeah.
We're about sex and physical and violence and survival and doing whatever it takes to look after me. And I thought the Doctor manifested a really interesting comparison to these boys that were like feral boys, if you like.
Yeah, they were.
With a bit of structure from Mr. Strangeman, you know, who came in and sort of trained them. Get down and do lots of, just like Johnny. He was like Joe Wicks from the Colombian jungle. And I liked also the scenes of disorientation where you had the night vision goggles and the battles kicked off and you were thrown into the middle of it and you're like, fucking hell. You know, what is going on here? And this is going on all over the world.
I'll tell you what bit really stressed me out as well, when the American woman tried to escape and that she got all those flies around her.
Oh,
my God, I was like the bag over her face.
Oh my
I thought she was
God.
going to die.
Well, I thought her
she was
escape
gonna
scenes were amazing. I thought
I
they were
did.
brilliantly
and that
done.
landslide she gets.
Oh my God, the landslide, and then in the water, lots of wonderful underwater photography. You know, there were scenes of. I mean, they really engaged with
towards
the environment.
End, you know, the bit where they're all in that really twisted. Well, they're not all, but Bigfoot and Rambo are in that massive current of
Oh God,
Those people were actually in there.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
could
was
see them
thinking.
filming
They were
it.
actually
They were
in there.
actually in there.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was so stressed out then because I get so scared of the sea, and I was
Yeah.
like, I could
The
not
bit-
be in something
the-
that aggressive.
Another bit that shocked me was when Rambo went with that family to their house.
Yes.
And
Oh,
what was
the parents were standing where
Oh,
they
yeah.
the guns and they just suddenly get shot through the
I
wall.
know.
And the kids are watching
Yeah.
them under the table.
That was a bit of a false note, I thought, afterwards, not at the time, but
Well,
I
I'll tell
thought
you
they were
what
going to give us an explanation for that, or at least show us what happened to the kids.
I mean, I thought when the helicopters kicked in, you think that big bits of sort of army kit means
Yeah.
that these are the goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just assume they're the goodies.
Yeah.
And I won't give away the way in which the film ends, but the film ends on a brilliant note. The director
was such
pictures
good-
it. He ends it at the
Yeah, because
perfect
Nan's been
point.
banging on about how films aren't ending well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she
People don't know
finally
how to
sat
end them,
us.
yeah.
I think you're kind of right. It's the most difficult part of making a film is
Yeah.
knowing
Well,
when to end it.
Yeah, that's why I say I always prefer films, like the ending of films, when some stuff's kind of just left
Incomplete.
like
Yeah,
unexplained,
unmade, yeah.
Like so much, it's going to annoy you because you're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
but what happened? But then you're kind of led to kind of make up your own story
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
When
yeah.
everything's explained for you, it's a bit like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, well that was predictable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I thought it was such a beautiful shot as well, and like you said, breaking the fourth wall at the
Breaking
Yeah.
the fourth wall right at the
Yeah.
end.
straight
Yeah.
at the camera.
Always a very powerful thing and has to be done sparingly, and I thought
Very
it did it very well.
sparingly.
Okay, well let's do our summaries and let's give our scores. And who would like to go first?
I like the way that I've seen so many films where the Amazon,
Oh, right,
but
yeah.
vaguely the Amazon is the background, where sort of the actual trees and the Amazon and the river and the creatures take full the full thing. But in this, he kept so firmly on the kids, introduced them to us, gave us their ranking order, if you like, gave us the fact that they kept going up and down, fighting, loving, then hating and killing, and the whole, like you say. The American woman was put in as the sort of thing to keep us, was she vaguely on their side or wasn't she? Was she going to escape or wasn't she? I think he pitched it exactly right in terms of keeping us. I mean, it's a very hard thing to do. I mean, even the first scene when he went along the people and showed us them, introduced them to us, went back along them. I mean, it's very hard to keep our interest when you don't know who these kids are.
Yeah.
I kept thinking in the beginning, because of that thing, there was a structure behind them. I was thinking, is this some sort of temple like they have in Mexico or something? You know, is it some sort
Very
of
sci-fi, I thought.
well, in
Yeah, it
that
was a
way,
bit-
especially
in that
with
way,
Mika's soundtrack.
until that you realise that was just there.
Yeah.
I loved all of that. I loved I thought it was
Yeah,
pitched
landscape
exactly
landscape
right.
was a massive part of this.
It
film.
was.
Yeah, the
It was.
whole beginning part, I loved
Yeah.
that whole setup, you know,
Yeah.
the big rocks.
Yeah, and those beautiful shots above the canopy of a rainforest. We've got the cloud formation above and
Yeah.
below you. You know, you've got
But
to
I
go
thought, yes, it was, but it was beautiful, but also unusual.
Yeah, yeah, it
So
was.
many of those
Yeah.
Amazon films where you see the river separating and you could pull back and you see the trees.
No, I
It was
agree.
it was different to that. So basically, I liked everything in it. The script was very spare, but
Yeah, a bit more.
beautiful. Yeah. And I won't say anything more about it. I'll just give it a score, and the score is 9.65.
9.65.
So yeah, I was actually very tired this day, so I was worried that it was going to be.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was worried it was going to be like, it was an intense watch, but in a different way, and then I
Yes.
wasn't going to be able to stick with it, sort of
Yes.
thing. But
Yeah.
I actually managed to, because in the adverts I was going. But then when the film started, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was thinking you'd come off a party. This is going to be a tough
No,
tough
but I
ask.
actually really, really enjoyed it, and the lack of dialogue I thought really worked in the film,
I
Yeah.
because I kind of didn't realise whilst watching it how little dialogue there was.
No.
And then coming out of it, I'm like, the actors did so much with like their
So,
actions
yes.
or their
Yeah.
facial expressions.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Nothing like surprised me as in.
That's what I mean in terms of the genre, not a genre.
Yeah, but I think I was shocked and surprised by all of the deaths in it.
Yeah, I
And
was.
and I absolutely loved the music. I thought the music was, because it was kind of very different to the music you would expect to be in a film like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I was stressed the entire time. You know, towards the end I was like off my seat. Yeah. And it was so beautifully shot, and I absolutely loved that shot of them walking in formation, bringing their leg up.
Could you have done with a bit more of that, or was that as much as it was it right? How much
I
there
think it was
of
right.
that?
I mean, whilst watching it, I was a bit like, oh, I want another kind of shot like that sort of thing. But it worked having just the one, I think. I loved all of the water scenes, you know, because that could have gotten, there was quite a lot of people being in water. It could have gotten a bit boring.
Yeah.
And every time I was like, oh my God. And I
Yeah,
love films that are really, really natural and where it's like really realistic. As I didn't for a second believe that they were acting, you know, I thought that these are Like,
Yeah,
it's almost
real.
like a
No, I
documentary.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah. We just
yeah.
happened to find them there.
Yeah. Right down to the American woman. I thought she was really good as well.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh, of course there's the white person in this film.
yeah.
But it worked. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I could watch it again even.
Right, well that's
Yeah, I
something.
could too.
And I loved the colours as well, and I really loved the at the beginning of the film, the fire scene, which is when they first play that music. They go,
Yeah, I really like that.
We're spinning with like the colour bomb.
I could have almost done with more moments of abstraction.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I absolutely love this film. So I think I would give it 9.5.
Whoa, what did you give it? 9.65?
Yeah, I like the fact that they were never specific over what their beef was.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I like the fact that they didn't need to be.
No, there was no political agenda, no
No.
ideology.
No.
They weren't defending a cause even,
No,
really.
no.
Go on then, Gish, you give us your assessment.
Yeah, I wasn't really.
You're dreading it.
No. I just didn't know what it was gonna. I didn't know what it was about.
Oh, I
or
see.
anything, so
Had you not seen the trailer?
I had, but I didn't
Right.
like understand.
Makes
I was,
sense.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Because it was kind of short.
It's not a mainstream
Yeah.
narrative film, is it?
No.
Yeah,
not
and
at
I
all.
thought maybe that I won't really understand it because maybe it's for like older people.
Yeah.
I loved the way it was shot. I agree with Nan that some bits of music was a bit too
much.
Like the bit where Rambo was staring into the camera, it was like, and it was
Yeah.
like,
Right, yeah.
because I don't know if it was coming from the sky or something.
Yeah.
Right, it was otherworldly, wasn't it? It was like bones
Yeah.
scraping
I
away
Yeah.
from the
I
blade.
loved it.
Yeah, I liked
but
it.
was-
Yeah.
I loved the way it was shot. Like, loved it. I think everyone in it was really good. I thought the American woman was good, but I was focusing on everyone else so much I didn't really notice.
Yeah.
But she seemed good.
Did you have a favourite
You
in the
loved
group?
Rambo.
Did you love
I
Rambo?
loved Rambo and I loved Bigfoot.
Yeah. Bigfoot's the one from the other film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the one with the long hair as well.
I quite liked him. There was something about he didn't
Yeah.
have much to say at all. Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peruvian
Yeah, I
Indian.
thought he was
looking.
very
Yeah,
good.
He was. He
I
was
was
the only one that
confused.
actually looked South American.
I was
Yeah.
confused by the bit when he went onto the ground. Actually.
That was like a punishment, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was just like a punishment.
He was so badly beaten up. His
I
eye.
know, oh god,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Makeup was good.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
makeup was really good. Her eye when she
Her eye
went
was
on the
amazing.
landslide as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was so stressful. I was like on the floor by the end.
it was, wasn't it? It really was. With this jarring noise.
It's like your ears and eyes start to bleed.
Yeah, I loved that shot where they were in the river and it was.
Yeah.
They held it for so long and it was.
That's right. Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Were they actually in that?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really liked it. I wasn't bored at any point.
Is it interesting for you young adults, to watch films where kids are working out the rules
Yeah.
and how to
Yeah.
deal with each
I
other?
leaned over to Kiki and were like, these are like homeschool kids.
We were dancing on the
I'm
bar.
kidding. Obviously, we don't kill each other.
Yeah. That's
Feral.
Did you find it difficult to read?
No, because there was
Keep up
hardly
reading.
any.
There
Yeah.
was hardly anything.
No, you're
was
right.
there?
Yeah, I was
really
gonna say,
liked that.
because my problem with subtitles is sometimes they distract from
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
for the visuals. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because they kind of always said the same stuff, like
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
off, go
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And the last shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so
So
It
good.
was
Fair,
so
worth the
beautiful.
rest of the film.
Yeah,
It was,
that,
wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'd probably give it a 10 because I actually didn't. When I think into it, I don't think anything was wrong.
Really? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There you go, see?
Are you?
Popcorn junkie lovers, no, I know, but you always say Kiki doesn't like.
I know,
Well,
yeah,
she's
that's
just
true.
very particular about
Yeah,
her films, isn't she?
yeah.
It's always fascinating to see how kids cope with living with each other. It's always fascinating to see their rules, the systems of survival,
Yeah.
the ways in which some decide to kill quite easily, and that's always petrifying when you think of child soldiers. Children trying to make structures, social structures, work for themselves. Children and young adults responding to the structures being forced on them.
Yeah.
Then, the chaos, in a sense, for the hostage, because she's looking at this going, she knows they've got no structures because they're kids, and it's
Yeah.
like, what the hell do I do? So she
Yeah.
knows she's just got to escape. I thought what you said was absolutely spot on. I haven't seen a film in which the rainforest as a sort of landscape,
Yeah.
but also a character in a film, was so physically present
Yeah.
and not just
Yeah.
a pretty backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought what was remarkable, going back to what you said, Kiki, was that yes, these characters, right down to when the hostage woman was hit by the landslide, every scene there was no question that they were interacting with this
Yeah,
landscape.
yeah.
So whether
Yeah.
they were going through the river, falling down, being put in holes, standing beside this great big, rock structure. And so I liked the way in which the music and the landscape became this breathing, living beast.
Yeah.
Within which they were like little creatures or bugs.
Yeah.
Sort of
Ants
scurrying,
scurrying.
and I thought those top shots towards the end kind of gave you a real sense of, God, in there are all these kind of insects, humans, kind of scurrying around trying to survive, and I loved all that.
I also don't know how they didn't get lost.
No.
I get lost in London.
Absolutely.
Transport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How do they know where the hell they're going?
Yeah.
So I loved all of that, and I thought it was just really, I thought it was beautifully shot. I loved the colour palette. I loved the moments of contemplation. I could have done with more abstraction. I thought where he went for it, he was probably tugging himself back, the director, but I just thought it worked whenever he went to those magical moments of choreography or very
like
composed
the
shots.
scene.
Yeah, the mushroom scene, I thought that was brilliant. I thought, as you say, the sex scene, I was feeling a bit awkward about it with you girls in there, and but I thought that was dealt with sensitively and sensibly as well. It wasn't gratuitous. Yeah, I really liked it, and I thought the ending, it's very rare to get the final shot of a film where I almost leap out of my chair and go, it's the right ending. It's nailed it. I mean, he nails the ending.
He does.
So I would fully recommend, put any prejudices aside, if you're not a fan of subtitled films, check this out. It's a very cool film without trying to be cool. Isn't it? 'Cause a bit like the Band of Warriors, they're cool because they're not cool. You know what I mean? So I would give this probably because I could have done with more abstraction, I'll give this a 9.9.
Oh, we're all very close, aren't we?
Yeah.
I did it. I said 10.
Yeah.
For more film and family fun, don't forget to click the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell to never miss an update.